Welcome to the Idaho Business Podcast, the only Idaho podcast focused on providing profits for Idaho people. If you love our state and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Idaho Business Podcast with your friend, host, and all-around great guy and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Idaho Business Podcast. I am here with Cameron Topliff, General Manager of Zions First National Bank in Pocatello, Idaho, located over there on Yellowstone, right there on the corner of Yellowstone and Philandro. And this guy, he's been in banking since 2003. But before that, he grew up in Burley, Idaho. He studied at Idaho State University, went on to Colorado Technical University, and went on to get his MBA at WGU. Is that, what was that again? I can't remember that acronym.
Western Governors out of Salt Lake.
Yes, perfect. So yes, he went out, got himself educated, and now he's managing this branch, and he's doing well over here during all this hectic financial time. So Cameron, appreciate you coming on the show, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be with you today, and thanks for the introduction. Yeah.
Perfect. Did I get it all right? Sometimes I mess it up.
No, that sounds like me in a nutshell. I'm the branch manager at Zions Bank, and yeah, I definitely went to those colleges. I definitely have those degrees, and I've definitely been in banking since 2003. Seems just like yesterday.
I like it. Well, perfect. Well, can you share something that, a little known fact or fun, interesting fact about yourself before we begin?
Sure. I was raised in Burley, but I was actually raised out in the country. I'm a farm boy. Okay. And, early morning, late nights, lots of hard work. And I got 4 kids. And I'm trying to think what else maybe some people don't know about me. I love boating. As the background, people on the listening can't see, but I love boating. I love being out on the water. And I love Idaho, and I love what I do. So maybe some people know that about me already, but there you go.
Hey, you and I both have that same hobby in common. I love being out in the water, and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
I laugh a little bit because last year I came home with 2 jet skis on a trailer, and my wife's like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I said, "Listen, these are old jet skis, and I spent like $1,300 on the whole thing. And I tell you what, I have had my $1,300 worth of fun in the last couple of months of last year. And my goal is to get a boat next year too. But man, those jet skis they've definitely tickled my fancy a little bit. So, I think I call them Zen places or Zen moments. One of my favorite Zen moments is being out in the water as the sun comes up, and it is literally smooth as glass, and you can just hear the water whistling below you, whether you're on a wakeboard or skis, or just on the bow of the boat. It's just one of my favorite places I can be that I feel like I'm at the most peace. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. All right, well, let's get back on to some business here. So we got done with our Zen moment here. So our Phil Jackson Zen moments. Before we get into this, our podcast is also sponsored by Dell's Outdoor Advertising. These guys have been in the traditional billboard and digital billboard for quite some time now. And if you want a sweet deal, mention the podcast to Rob and you call them, and he will give you, if you sign up for a 3-month deal, he'll give you your installation for free or your first month for free. So give them a call right now, everyone listening. So Cameron, how did you get into the banking business and why?
Man, I am just a dumb, lucky idiot how I fell into banking. And when I first got married and first was newlyweds, I was working retail, going to college, trying to survive. And I'd started out for 1 month. I worked at a little, I think it's called Schubach Jewelers now, but it used to be Samuel's Jewelers, kind of a larger chain place. Yep. And
nobody wanted to get up off their butts and walk over to make the deposit at the local Wells Fargo where they were required to every day. And I have a tendency to be friendly and outgoing. And within that month, I just took the deposits over every day. And the people at Wells Fargo approached me and said, "We have a job we want you to apply an interview for." Just because I was kind enough to talk to them every day and not afraid to have a conversation. I got the job. I spent a year doing that job. That was what was called a personal banker, new accounts, consumer lending. And within a year, I was promoted to a private banker, which is high net worth banking. So, usually you have to, at the time, that group, you had to make $500,000 a year and have a significant net worth kind of thing to be one of my clients. Did that for a couple of years, and then I was recruited to Zions Bank. Spent a couple of years doing what was called a loan officer position at Zions. Then I went to the treasury management group, handling large depository accounts, everything from a small mom and pop where we did merchant services up to multi-million-dollar international entities. And that was a great experience. I used to cover half the state with that. Then I got a wild hair, went into healthcare for 1 year, got out of that. That wasn't for me. And went to a smaller institution, ran some branches and departments for them. Great experiences there, great opportunities. And then I came back to Zions. It's a great place. I love being here. And now I'm a branch manager, and I do, the thing I think I like about this job is I get to help everybody with everything. I have some clients that are very large and some that are small, and I just genuinely like helping people, and I like finance, and I love learning about other people, other companies. So that's kind of my rundown history. I really fell into it though, and I count myself lucky. I love this gig. I love this job, and I'm very fortunate.
Well, that's great. I don't know how many people can say, I love my job. I love what I do, and that's something great to be able to hear, because you've heard this over and over again, but they say if you love what you do, you don't ever work a day in your life. So that's awesome. So perfect. Well, you already answered my next question. What's the favorite part of your job? Helping people.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, do you have a biggest mistake that you've made in banking that you'd like to bring up?
I would say the biggest mistake, I've made a lot of mistakes in life, right? We learn from mistakes, but one of the biggest mistakes was leaving when I went to work in healthcare. I went to work for a home health and hospice company doing sales and marketing. And the reasons I left, I thought were significant. And again, I like helping people. So I thought, what better way to help people than in healthcare? And that was probably one of my biggest mistakes. Was I left a pretty good career path and went into an industry I didn't know enough about, didn't do enough research on. I kind of even dragged my feet going into the industry, just having a feeling that it maybe wasn't for me. The biggest thing is I learned a ton for that. I learned who I was, what kind of gig I didn't want to be in, what kind of job I didn't want to be in. I learned what kind of companies I didn't want to work for, right?
Yep.
I also learned that healthcare wasn't for me. And I had been pondering all through my college years and all through my time, even at the financial industries institutions I was in, that I thought for sure maybe I wanted to go into healthcare that entire time. And the biggest benefit about leaving the industry that I now love and coming back is that I know when I'm 65, I'm never going to regret not having made that chance or jump into that other industry. But that was probably one of my biggest mistakes. Probably the other is just thinking I know everything. When you're young, you kind of get that little arrogant chip on your shoulder. And the older I get, the more I love to learn, and the more I look back with maybe some remorse at not taking advice from some of the sages or mentors that could have been there for me.
I like that. I think we're all like that when we're young. We all have fools for masters because we think we know it all, and we can do it all for ourselves. Funny enough, my speech teacher in like my junior year in high school, I don't know why I remember this, But it was like a somber moment in the class because he had this real deep, gruff voice. Like he was the basketball coach at our school. Like he had everyone's respect. But loved the guy. And one day he gets up, he's like, listen, people, there's 3 levels in life. The level you're all on right now, and all you see is a rock, a sagebrush, and a beer can. And that's all you see. And he described the 2nd level and the 3rd level, all progressively better levels. And towards the end of his little spiel, he looks at all of us and he says, sadly, most of you will never see above this level. Of the rock, the beer can, and the sagebrush. And it's so true though. Like you need to be able to lose yourself and say, I need to be able to learn from others. And I can't just think that I know everything as I'm younger. And as I grow up, you've got to be able to know that you can always be learning from others. So I'm hoping I'm still not in the rock, the beer can, and the sagebrush level. I'm hoping I'm at least in the 2nd level above. Maybe a toe in the bottom level. I don't know.
That reminds me of some similar advice I got once, and every once in a while you'll see it on a coffee mug. I'm religious and served a mission for my church, and one piece of advice I got from a leader on that. I don't know why, but he just turned to me once and said, there's 3 kinds of people in this world. I was like, oh, where's this headed? And he goes, there's people who make things happen. There's people who want things to happen. And there's people who wondered what the hell happened. And you may have heard that before or not.
Yeah, that's good.
I thought about that so profoundly in my life, and it was good advice. And he went on to elaborate a little bit, saying, there's a lot of people who wonder what the hell happened in their life, and chaos flows around them. And they just, and you can look around and see those kinds of people. And there's people who want things to happen, right? There's a lot of people that wish for this or wish for that or yearn for that. And then there's people who make things happen. And he said, there's always reasons and excuses why things can't happen. Every single person has that. But the people that overcome that and work through it are the ones that make things that happen. And he goes, you'll find times in your life that you'll be someone who wants something to happen. And then there'll be times in your life that you're making things happen. He goes, but if you find yourself wondering what the hell happened, and maybe you're sitting in that position, you need to look at yourself because you're the only one that can get you out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's probably the same level as being the victim mentality. Things always happen to me and not happen for me, So I like that a lot, So
there you go.
Well, perfect. There we go. That's what this podcast is all about. Going on some tangents, but it wasn't a full off side tangent. It had to do what we were talking about, So I like it. Talking about that led from the biggest mistakes question. That was good. So learn from us, people. Learn from us. Yeah. Take advice from others. Read books.
I love those little pearls of wisdom. Those one-liners. I think one of the other ones I learned at that point in my life, which I made fun of the guy that told me at first, but now I realize he was smarter than me at the time, was a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of others.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think there's a lot of that repeated in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like people say, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. So true, right? Mm-hmm. And I imagine you've seen that even with your own company, right? There's times you're like, man, if I would have just learned from someone else, I wouldn't have made that expensive mistake myself.
Oh, yeah. If I only would have known now what I knew, if I would have known then what I know now, it would have been a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
And
I probably think it's probably one of the dirty little things about me is one of my dirty little secrets is I love business history. Like, I think that should be a specific class for entrepreneurs and college students.
That's true.
Where they break down successful businesses and failures and also why some of them come to fail, Yeah. And it is very interesting. Have you seen that documentary on Netflix about Blockbuster?
Yep. I was just going to bring that up.
Man, right? Just like they had the chance to be Netflix. one of the juggernauts in streaming media right now. They had the chance more than once, and they blew it. What a vital lesson to learn.
But it wasn't the story that all of us thought it was. It wasn't just because Netflix drove them out of business. It's because their parent company saddled them with so much debt, they couldn't push through.
Well, and I think they made interesting, they had some CEOs that made some interesting decisions. Like, I thought it was really interesting. So you were around at the time, and they talk about in that documentary of how they had a new CEO who decided to waive all late fees forever because that was the number one complaint, right? And the company almost like instantly tanked, right? Because people are just like, I'll rent the video and never take it back, right? So you're losing all your inventory and thus also your ability to return on revenue.
Oh, man.
Like, what were you thinking? Yeah, and it makes the point of you can't it made a very interesting point from that perspective of that company. In that moment, they couldn't give their customers what they wanted most because it destroyed the company. And man, and the people can always say, we should always give the customer what you want. In that instance, it literally destroyed one of the largest franchises and a company that had huge potential and was one of the biggest juggernauts in their game.
And that's true, because some customers just really don't understand what's best for them, because they think, oh, I'm getting all these videos for free now, I'm going to go back and get more. Well, more is not there. Yeah. Everyone else had the same idea, so there's obviously no inventory. There's nothing else for you. That company can benefit you no longer. Yeah. And that's one of those things. They thought they're giving they thought they're going to just get the world by its the toe. I don't know what I'm talking about. But and they just completely destroyed it. So it's interesting.
Congratulations on spending a couple of minutes getting a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Idaho business community. If you're feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.